Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome back to the channel. I hope you had nice weekends getting up to date on a Monday with your 9 to 5 jobs, and tuning into crypto is really not easy. It's tough going, but in a market like this, you're going to make time, you're going to be present, you're going to be available. But you weren't like this last week, you weren't like it last month, and that's really where it counted. So if you're someone who sat there now glued to your screens, glued to your portfolio, and you weren't in the past week, month, and that entire year that we've just been through in that bear market, then you should really think about where you want to find yourself. Do you want to be chasing green now, or do you want to be locking in during those crucial moments when essentially everybody's panicking and everybody is doing an ostrich? They're burying their head in the sand. Don't find yourself amongst those group of people. And again, if you are amongst those group of people, it's okay. Now you can learn from the lesson. You can move forward in a far more productive manner. So the Fear and Greed Index has made a huge jump up from yesterday and going from 66 up to 73. We are going to be changing from greed into the next stage upwards in around 6 hours, 52 minutes. I think it is going to go higher. We've had a significant amount of bad news, and previously during this bear market, Bitcoin has been affected by absolutely everything. And it's not Bitcoin in general, it's more the people that have invested in Bitcoin. They're getting paper handed, if you will, and people trying to really tighten their belt. Is this thing over? Is it a bubble that is going to burst? Similar to what's going on with AI at the moment. They simply can't make it profitable past monthly subscriptions and some weird guy, turning the bot into his girlfriend, those kind of things. Now, we've got a new trade war which has erupted between the United States and Canada over the past few days, and it's nothing that we haven't heard and nothing that we haven't seen before. But previously, we have been affected by this in general, being in cryptocurrency. I've always seen this market that we've been in as a very, very egg-shelled market, if you will. You had to be very careful where you had been treading over that past year, because honestly, you could have got wrecked just within a matter of a couple of days. That's how quickly prices were coming down at some point. This doesn't seem to be having the effect that you would believe it is probably going to have. It's not. Bitcoin seems to be doing okay. Going over and looking at what's now going on again with Iran and Donald Trump saying he's got nothing better to do than bomb Iran, and it's just more things that we've heard before, more veiled threats, if you will. This is all stuff that is happening far from us in our computer seats, but it does have an effect. But right now, it seems that Bitcoin doesn't care that the US is going to be supposedly threatening the toughest sanctions yet. And I've seen this many times before. If you just go on Google Trends, put what I've highlighted in, you're going to see that every month or so since this has begun, we have essentially seen the US, oh, we're going to be threatening the toughest sanctions yet. But all of this was having an effect on Bitcoin. But something I said to everybody was instability would only lead to more people dipping a toe in crypto, dipping into an asset that essentially they have 100% control over, right? It's not in a bank account. It can't be blown up by an airstrike, so to speak. It can't be devalued as a country goes into instability. So these are all very bullish things for crypto, and it's starting to really have an effect. We've just seen hackers shut down. It's a nuclear power plant, I've been led to believe. And this is all, again, stuff that should really be having an effect on crypto. It previously did, but it just seems it's not. The market seems to be greedy. It seems to be hungry. Going over now, and just before we get into the LUNC technical analysis, I like to set the scene here. It's important to understand what's going on externally, so then we can have a better viewpoint as to where LUNC could be going. And guys, it's looking very darn bullish. What you're looking at here is BTC on the day view as normal, you guys, and I've said about this symmetrical pattern that's playing out, the fact that we were above, now we're below, it's symmetrical, we've pushed back up, and now this thing is looking again extremely bullish. Instead of seeing a push, a hit on a resistance line, coming back down and into that trend area to continue possibly going sideways but slightly upwards as it had been. Instead, it's holding above that trend line. So as I've mentioned previously, we've probably got a new pattern forming here, which is really just the remnants of a previous pattern that was already playing out. From my perspective, this is very good news because if this keeps going, if we push up to say this area that I've drawn, this line of resistance, well, it's going to conform to a pattern. We're going to get some kind of sideways action, and people are going to sell the highs, they're going to buy the lows, sell the highs, buy the lows, those kind of things. Now, during all of that momentum, we as people that are invested in LUNC are looking to really hedge our bets here, because if we can really predict this is going to happen, other traders are going to be able to predict it, and they're going to be able to see that there is money to be made on LUNC whilst this market is really deciding what it's going to do next. Because for all intent and purposes, this isn't 100%. We, yes, could drop back below into that trend line. Anything can happen. A panda could fall from the sky and it could hit some grandma crossing the road on her crutches, and a crutch pings off and hits an ambulance. Anything can happen, you guys. With all of that being said, going over and looking at the BTC dominance chart, we're still cooking. We're still in a position, we're only at around 60% BTC dominance, and this means we can, yes, in fact, go far higher than here. As you can see, during that previous all-time high area, getting a real big cook-off up to around 66%. So these are really, really good things that are happening right now with the external market, with the ocean that we're all sailing through, which is BTC and BTC dominance. Before we actually get on to doing some technical analysis, I want to show you guys what I think is happening. The RSI is really just giving us a very, very good indication. It's possibly a bullish indication. The moving averages, it's catching up. And like I said, we'll get onto that shortly. But what I want everybody right now is someone that's invested in Terra Luna Classic. You're part of the community, you understand the technology, and you understand where we have come from. We need to start to really assess the market and assess the issues that are present. The current issue that I'm seeing a lot in crypto is cold storage. Each and every one of these cold storage solutions that you can opt into, whether it's Ledger, Trezor, there's new ones out there. They're like little bank cards. I was actually sent some. I can't even remember what the company's called now. I've got a t-shirt and everything. They wanted me to do a promo, but I didn't want to do it. Terra Luna Classic needs to understand that it has no single point of control. It has no one that sends out letters. It has nobody that is storing your data. The chain stores zero personal data, meaning that our systems are far more advanced here. They are far more secure, and there is no way for you to somehow, right, be sent a letter by some scammer somewhere in the world that got your address and details from the database, from that entity that is the single point of control. For all intent and purposes, if Terra Luna Classic really wants to become part and really become part of the future that is crypto without doing very little in changes, just become a trust wallet. And I don't mean just rebrand to the name trust wallet. I mean go into a multi-chain wallet, become a multi-chain wallet. Because we have no single point of control, there is no single point of failure. There's nowhere to get the personal data from. As you guys can see here from the information that's on my screen, these exploits have really become the all and everything when it comes down to losses in crypto. Instead of it being bridges or wrap tokens, now we're actually seeing the hackers going directly to the actual person. They're skipping all of the nonsense. They're just going straight to you and sending you a letter because they've got all of your details, and none of that can happen here on Terra Luna Classic. I'm going to do an individual video where we go over all of this and we start to show people that our blockchain has one single point of failure, and that is you. And the only way that your wallet could be penetrated is by you giving away your seed phrases or letting somebody see your seed phrases in some way, shape, or form. Again, a lot of these cold storages and things like Trust Wallet and all of them, they are storing your personal data. If you have to KYC, you've already given them all of the information. Terra Luna Classic could be part of something huge just by merely becoming a multi-chain wallet and changing absolutely nothing, having low fees, keeping a burn tax, which is beneficial for everybody. Rabbiting on here, honestly, I really, really, really want to talk more about that, but Let's get onto the technical analysis. Let's actually take a look at what's going on. The RSI has actually given us a good signal. If you actually peek back here, and I'll do some circles around these areas where we essentially get these highlights of green. This means that we are overbought, that people have come in, the traders have come in, they have now bought and they have now sold. And this is going to lead to a price consolidation. As you can see, the RSI comes down and the price therefore comes down with it. The yellow line is the moving averages and the purple line is the RSI, if you guys were wondering. And we had that initial cook off, as I said, we got up to around that 70 mark, but now we've pulled back. We've come back down and the moving averages is beginning to catch up. What I want to see here is the moving averages catch up and then the RSI come down and bounce like so. If it bounces like this, it is going to be very bullish. It could confirm the final part of this Elliott wave, leading to a substantial amount of gains for all of us. In the event it's going to be the opposite, what we're going to see is a bearish indicator. We're going to see that moving averages line catch up. We're going to see the purple RSI line come down and it is going to make a bearish cross, similar to what happens on the MACD indicator. When you get the cross going above, it's bullish. When you get the cross back down, it is bearish. That all being said, I do think we're looking at a possible bounce here, something similar to what I'm drawing here. And that is then going to lead to a bigger move upwards in the actual price without looking at indicators. And why do I think this is going to happen? Well, Bitcoin is in a very good position. We just saw meme coins make substantial runs. I just made an almost 3.5 coming on 4x gain on a meme coin. And I think a lot of you saw that on the channel being pump token. Altcoins didn't really run. LUNC did not run. As you guys can see, the RSI cooked off very quick, which ate up all of the price movement that we possibly could have saw. And that is again a result. And as much as you want to deny it, if you're one of those people, that is a result of a very, very minimal trading. And why would traders be minimal trading? Well, the taxes are too high. The cost, right, of actually making that trade is too high, meaning that everything's just far too tight. But what we could see is people get used to it. We could still see a cook off here. We could still see a big move upwards, but in the event we don't, and we do bounce on this trend line, we come back down and we bounce again, it's going to tell us that the chain is uncertain, the traders are uncertain, and everybody is really kind of just looking from the fence, taking a seat, and wondering what everybody else is going to do. I've spoken many times about predictability and other traders seeing what we're seeing, and then everybody goes out and makes those trades. That's really the sheep mentality of crypto, and that's what creates ginormous pumps. What I want to see from Terra Luna Classic right now is a big pump, because I do want this 1.5% burn tax to work. Why wouldn't I want to see more coins burn if it's beneficial for the blockchain and it's not going to affect the price? It's not going to affect the trading movements. But again, when we see the RSI cook off that quickly into overbought, it tells you that very minimal traders came, very minimal traders went, and not much was made. Not many coins were moved, because if they were, well, then we would have cooked off like all of the other assets. I do think that we're going to see altcoins run soon, but I think BTC is going to need to decide what it's doing next, because right now the dominance is still cooking. The price of BTC is still above that overall trend line as we've looked at previously in this video, and just getting it back up, this would be a monumental movement with that ascension upwards, that setting high highs and higher lows. Well, everybody's going to trade around that and the entire market's going to move up with it. Everything's going to look positive. Everything's going to look bullish. And this is going to be on the back end of the POTUS meeting and Brad Garlinghouse being in the White House, actual things actually happening from that meeting, not like the facade that we had previously, which was more of just people having a fancy dinner, I guess. The market's in a good position and we are almost into September, which means we've got a chance of all of the clarity act momentum coming back into play. But even if that doesn't happen, the CFTC Commission will be pushing their own rules and their own regulations for crypto, which is again a win-win for absolutely everybody. My advice, which is not financial advice, is to remain locked in as much as you can. Yes, remain fixed to your portfolios. Do not go and touch grass. These kind of markets can move within a matter of hours, sometimes within a matter of minutes. So you must remain locked in, set price alerts, set stop losses, do everything you need to do to ensure that you're banking buck, because this could be it, guys. This could be the moment when we're going in to that next phase of the halving cycle. Because going back and looking at the previous halving cycle, just quickly here, you've got two caps, you've got two peaks. Well, we got two peaks again. What's not to say that we couldn't get a third peak during this halving cycle before it eventually then does cook off into an insanely longer bear market, which, yes, is coming at some point because there is a substantial amount of time left until the next halving event. And as far as we know, price has always moved around the halving events, and you're not going to change that. I'm not going to change that. And the only way it would change is by being able to look into the future. But yeah, guys, look, that's all I've got for you for now. Stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, beware of scammers, doppelgangers, anybody pretending to be me. I hate saying that, but it needs to be said. And I'll catch you in the next one.